Welcome, people, back to the Michael Talks Football channel, and we are here with Conmebol. My dog is going crazy in the background, and Conmebol decided to have a crazy week because Bolivia, and shout out, I can only find this green kit in my kit collection, picked up 6 points. First off, round of applause for Bolivia. I mean, what they just achieved is nothing short of sensational, and Chile, un minuto de silencio. They need a minute of silence because they are dead right now. We're also going to talk about, is Bielsa found out? Because Uruguay, they got 2 draws, but 0 goals. Yeah, they conceded 0 goals as well, but it wasn't a good performance from them. And Seleção, it seems like we do this every time when we do a recap of the qualifiers, are just taking L after L after L, and it's not looking good. And Colombia, I mean, James Rodriguez should be winning Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. But of course, we are joined by Rank. Rank, describe this week in Conmebol in one word.
Madness. What we saw this week, that doesn't make sense. Like, we're gonna have to keep it brief because we could be here like for like 2 hours with everything that happened. People who don't like the international break, they don't know what they're missing out on. Like AFC and now Conmebol, like it's going insane. This week was just mental with everything that went down, and a lot of talking points now.
Yeah, lots of talking points. So people, get your talking points in the comments down below. Are Chile dead? Are Peru one of the worst national teams in the world right now? Because what I saw from them was horrific. And where would you rank Colombia now? Are they a top 3 team in national team football? And describe Bolivia in one word, because they might have just went away from altitude merchants to sea level merchants. So we're going to first talk about match day 7. Okay, Rank. I think we got to describe this in one way. Were Venezuela just terrible? Or is it because of the altitude they lost 4-0? Because you can lose to Bolivia in El Alto. And of course, the craziest thing about that game was when Bolivia came out with the lineup, there were 6 players from Always Ready. 6! So they were used to the climate. They were used to the altitude. They knew exactly what they were doing. And it turned out to be a perfect plan from them. And look, I don't want to hear people blaming Bolivia. Bolivia did what it had to do. They said, we're going to qualify no matter what. And they destroyed Venezuela. And Venezuela, I think Batista got that completely wrong. Lineup, tactically, just everything went completely to shit for Venezuela. And they got destroyed. So are you going to blame it more on Batista or the conditions of the game?
I think it's a combination of factors, because even at the Copa America, we saw that Batista wasn't really getting the start of the game right most often than not. It was mostly his adaptations during the halftime or whatever, his substitutions that changed the game for Venezuela and made it so they could get results. So I think that, like you said, he didn't approach this game right. He didn't know what Venezuela's lineup should be to better adapt to the altitude and to better approach this game, knowing what Bolivia were playing for. But also, I think that just 4-0 is the altitude. You cannot explain it any other way, because, like you said, you can lose to Bolivia on the road 1-2-0. It's not a big deal. 4-0 is like, okay, you got completely destroyed because your lineup wasn't right, your tactics weren't right, and also you were like struggling to breathe because the conditions up there make no sense. And also, Bolivia do something really well, and is taking advantage of the other aspects of the altitude, like the very thin air. The ball moves different, and we saw that in the first goal. It was an amazing goal, but like that goal you can only do in the altitude. Like the ball moves different, it catches goalkeepers off guard. And yeah, it was just crazy. It was massive for Bolivia. It was what they needed. They need to win as many home games as they can, because that's the only hope they have to overtake the teams that are below them. But for Venezuela, listen, these were 3 points that you could afford to lose.
No, it was a bit of a humiliation on Venezuela's part, but I can't really blame them because just the altitude. I mean, you sent me the photos of the stadium. The seats were breaking, maybe because of the altitude as well. It was craziness.
But the seats were made of like that foam. They weren't like real seats. It was insane.
They were like fake seats onto the concrete. It was craziness.
Nah, bro.
Now, Bolivia just said, we're just going to take this to the most extreme level. And, hey, I don't blame them. And winning 4-0, like, that's crazy. Okay, I can understand, like, 2-0. And Venezuela not used to the altitude. It's a bit of a harsh conditions. But 4-0 is a bit like, okay, you know what? Maybe Bolivia have changed. maybe we're seeing a new Bolivia. And shout out to one of their goal scorers, Terceros, who plays for Santos in Brazil, even though they're in Division B nowadays, Santos, which is still saddening to hear. But he scored a great goal, and they scored some beautiful team goals. And obviously, they have the speed. They're used to the climate, so they just used all that to their advantage, and they destroyed Venezuela. Argentina just destroyed Chile. But the most amazing aspect of this game, I would say, is just the midfield. Their pressing absolutely suffocated Chile. Chile had no... I think they had one shot the entire game. One chance. So Chile, you could just tell that they don't have the quality. They couldn't match with Argentina. Argentina had the quality. And Alvarez's goal. I mean, the dude has been poor, I would say, at the start of the season. He unleashed all his frustration and anger on that shot with that golazo that he scored. And it was such a comfortable victory, Rank.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the first half, I think it was a bit shaky on our part. We played like good for the first 25 minutes or so, but we really weren't creating any dangerous opportunities, and we were struggling to get that first goal, which is usually what we need to kind of like really boost up and or completely roll over the opposing team. And after that, I felt like Chile grew into the game a bit. They hit the post. Towards the end of the first half, they were the ones holding possession, and I was like, okay, some adaptations are needed. And like in the second half, we just come out the gate swinging. McAllister with that first goal, brilliant assist from Julian, also Lautaro like letting the ball past him. Amazing team goal. And like you said, after that, the midfield just took over and Chile had absolutely no chance. That second half was a masterful display of the football that Argentina can play. And yeah, it was just a one-sided show after that. And like you said, that Julian goal, I think that he's just comfortable in that stadium. It may have to do with that
maybe.
as well. But yeah, after that, we saw like a few good cameos. I was very happy to see Dybala coming in after, he hadn't been called up originally, and he came into the squad. He wearing the number 10 jersey. He gets to come on, makes a good cameo, scores a goal. I was super happy for him because he deserves it. But yeah, a lot of positive signs for Argentina, especially with the adaptations in that second half. We played another fantastic game, and look, Chile are on a mess of themselves, but this was a very, very dominant performance, especially that second half. And yeah, I think it was a pretty convincing win. Not much to comment on that one.
Yeah. I don't think there's much to comment because Chile offered nothing in this game, and Argentina were just domination. And that's what they've become at home, except against Uruguay back, October, November last year. That's been only flaws so far until we get to the next match day. But yeah, Argentina were masterful, I thought, in the second half. They just took it to a different gear. I feel like the first half was a little bit slow paced. They were allowing Chile to just be in the game. And then they said, oh, cool, you had your little fun, Chile. Now, this is how the big boys play. And they just absolutely destroyed them. Rank, is Bielsa found out?
I think he is. This is something that I said when Bielsa became coach of Uruguay, that I think that he's an amazing coach. He's a great tactician. He's a genius of our sport and of our generation. But he's a bit too stubborn. Like when he was the coach of Argentina, that's what brought us down at the 2002 World Cup, that he was just too over-reliant on one system and a set of squad players that just weren't up to the task at the moment. And it's happening again with Uruguay. At the start, it looks fantastic. Like he has all this dynamic play, attacking, free-flowing football, gegenpressing that looks amazing, beautiful on the eye. But once you get figured out, Bielsa doesn't have a plan B, and he refuses to go down to a plan B because he loves his plan A. And once teams actually figure out what he wants to do, we see stuff like this game. Obviously, there was a lot of things going around this game with being Suarez's last game for Uruguay. So like I feel like also the fans and the players itself were like a lot more focused on that and actually giving Suarez a good send-off. But there was a game being played, and I think that Uruguay didn't really create many threatening chances, and Paraguay's low block was being very complicated for them to actually break through. And in the end, Paraguay ended up being the team that created the better chances. They hit the post twice in this game. Like with a bit more luck, Paraguay would have walked away from here with 3 points as well. So it really wasn't a good performance for Uruguay. Obviously, they have a lot of suspended players. That's another topic.
I was just going to ask you, do you think they were missing Dan Darwin in this game? Because it's always been, in my lifetime at least, that Uruguay always have that vocal point of a striker from Cavani, Forlan, Suarez, and Darwin has emerged as that guy, even though he didn't have the greatest Copa America. But I feel like they were missing him in this game. Because Suarez, he just can't do the pressing. He's at that age, and it was his last game. Even though he hit
Yeah,
the post, he almost scored a ridiculous goal with that volley.
he almost scored a ridiculous goal. It would have been beautiful. It would have been his 70th goal as well for the national team to
Yeah.
like get a
Hey
round
man,
number.
might as well stick to 69.
Nice, yeah. Maybe it is like the suspensions and especially the loss of Darwin, who is currently still the top goal scorer of the qualifiers. It could have been a key player that Uruguay were missing for sure. But in terms of the tactics, like at least Uruguay would have created more chances, even if it was for a player who wasn't able to score them. It felt like they really didn't know how to break Paraguay's low block, and you have to give massive credit to Alfaro. We're gonna get to it later, but
Yeah.
listen, it wasn't a good performance for Uruguay. They're going to have to improve. They're going to qualify for the World Cup, obviously, but if they want to actually be one of the contenders at that World Cup, they're going to have to show better than this. And they're going to have to show, Bielsa is going to have to show that he can do more than one style, because if you're a one-trick pony, it really doesn't work out, because teams are going to come out with this style of play, and yeah, you're just screwed.
One thing I just don't really understand is why isn't Luciano Rodriguez getting any minutes? That's one thing that really baffles me. Well, he didn't get any minutes in this game, so it was really weird. Because you had to bring something different. Beliste and Araujo were doing nothing. They couldn't beat a man. And Gustavo Gomez and Alderete, they were just having a field day with Suarez because they know he can't move in the box. Obviously, he had that one chance, but Suarez was pretty quiet and really just not involved at all. I think it was pretty easy for Paraguay to defend the whole entire time. So, yeah, look, great point for Paraguay going away. Gustavo Alvaro, we're going to talk about him later and what he's done so far, because getting 4 points in this window for Paraguay, I was going to say that Ener Valencia should retire, and then we're going to talk about what he did later. But this game, I think it's more on Ecuador than Brazil. Because we know with Brazil, like every time we say this, the midfield is just garbage. It's garbage. There's no quality. I mean, Uruguay's midfield would be starting for Brazil. Brazil don't have that quality. And every time we get to an international window, it's always, I just see Neymar, 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 Neymar. You cannot just be that one guy is going to fix this problem. Neymar's not going to fix this problem. Yes, they won 1-0. It was a deflected goal by Rodrigo. And Ecuador had all of the... That Ener Valencia had that one chance in the second half where he sent it back to Quito. I'm like, dude, just retire. Just please. The dude was a rotten encebollado in that game. And then there was that chance in the first half where I'm like, oh my God, Kevin Rodriguez plays it through to Moises Caicedo. Not the guy you really want the ball to land to was Moises Caicedo. And Ecuador, they created some second half chances, but it wasn't really anything threatening to Brazil. But it's average from Brazil. Like, there's nothing more to say. It's average from Brazil. And were you a bit more, I wouldn't say impressed by Ecuador, because obviously it was Becasse's first game, or are you just like, this is the same Brazil over and over again?
No, yeah, it really feels at this point that nothing's changing with Brazil. The international windows keep on coming, and it's just the same what we've been seeing with Dorival Jr. at the helm. Listen, this game was probably the worst of the whole week. Even though we had other 2 0-0 draws, this one was just, footballing-wise, it was painful to watch, because especially with what we expected from both of these teams, with the quality that they have. But yeah, Brazil got that Rodrigo goal. It was like really good, even though it was a deflection. But it was like one moment of brilliance, and Brazil really didn't create anything during this game. And it felt during this entire game that if Ecuador just pushed a little bit more, they could get a result. They should have gotten a result. But yeah, this result is on Ecuador, because this Brazil team is really beatable. We saw it many times already.
Home and away. It doesn't matter where you play them. Maracanã, Manaus, you play them anywhere, you can beat this Brazil.
Yeah, that's the main thing, that this Brazil team ain't scary anymore. And yeah, it was really a missed opportunity for Ecuador, where they could have gotten a very valuable point. But it seems that they just didn't have them in them to just push forward and try to take more risks. Ener Valencia, yeah, he missed that one chance, but also he barely had any delivery. He was battling his way through many defenders at times, because he couldn't get the ball in a good position. He was dropping back into midfield, and Ecuador were just dropping so low that they never had any initiative to go forward afterwards. And so that really costed him this game. But it was just horrible to watch Brazil in that second half just hoofball, like trying to throw the ball as far as they could, and the fans like whistling and mumbling even though they were winning. It was just a horrible sight all around for the Seleção. Just seeing how far Brazil has fallen footballing wise. Not much else to say. It was a horrible game. Brazil won because of one single moment of brilliance, and Ecuador are going to be very disappointed because they really could have gotten something this game had they been a bit more brave. I can't really fault Becasese too much because he's only getting started, but it really feels like nothing has changed ever since Felix Sanchez left, and it's not a great sign so far for Ecuador, at least in terms of the football.
Brazil at this point are just a Nike product, but the Nike tick is the wrong way. That's what they are. I mean, you're just getting the wrong. You're getting so much promise. You hear the Seleção, you're thinking, boom, LV quality, Gucci quality, and instead you're just getting a fake Gucci from the streets of Bangkok or somewhere. I mean, this is just horrendous over and over again. And like you said, the second half. I mean, I don't know if I was watching Brazil or Bafana. I don't know which team I was watching. Actually, you know what? South Africa probably play better football than these guys at this moment.
It was Sean Dyche. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, it was Sean Dyche. So wow, Dorival is the Sean Dyche of Brazil. Who knew? Okay, and then the last game of this match day, Peru and Colombia 1-1. All I have to say is, okay, Peru have no attack, but they look good on set pieces. And Colombia were terrible the first half. And when they decided to play football, they created chances. But, you know, there's nothing I can say about Peru. It's like Brazil. Every window is going to be the same thing. They're horrible. End this national team. Take a break for 2 years. Just reassess yourself and say, you know what? Guys, we're just terrible. We need to fix our academies. We need to look at Rank's video and talk about the Copa Peru and discuss everything about this national team. Because, yeah, you took the lead. Good. You're only dangerous in set pieces. That's it. So, and Colombia, they get a point. They didn't play their best, but I'm not really going to criticize them.
I mean, I feel like this was Peru's last chance, honestly. In the last video,
they still got to play Bolivia at home. I mean, I'll give Peru that. They still got to play Bolivia at home.
Chile at home as well. Like they have a few matches that they can actually win. So basically, like we've seen in these qualifiers, if you get one win, a very well-timed win, you're back in the race. Like that's why Peru aren't out of it just yet. But this was a massive opportunity that they let slip because it's not every day that you're going to be ahead against Colombia, a team that hadn't lost like for the last 2 years up until the Copa America final. So like Colombia don't lose often, and you were up in the second half. Like I know that Peru is extremely limited and that you basically have no players that can do much of anything. It's very hard for this Peru team currently. Once you were 1-0 up, you had to keep that result, no matter what, no matter the way. Even if you have to keep Galese making some crazy saves, just get the result and move on, no matter how horrible it looks. And they couldn't even do that, which was like very sad to see playing at home. James Rodriguez coming off the bench and getting a pre-assist, but basically an assist for Luis Diaz for that goal. That late equalizer for Colombia, which saves them a point. And yeah, it's just sad to see for Peru because we are at the Copa America and now we're also seeing like some signs that maybe they, with a few more things going their way, they could get it done. But this team is just so incredibly limited. And yeah, they had this opportunity to get a massive 3 points at home and they couldn't close it out. And yeah, it's just unfortunate for them.
But I would just say that, you know, Peru, they have a good goalkeeper. Like Galese that guy's a quality goalkeeper. We've seen it for many years now. He's quality. Defensively, they're good. But the midfield and attack is so abysmal. I mean, San Marino scored a goal from open play. And Peru can't. Obviously, you know, it's level of competition, that sort of stuff. But still, they're just so limited. And I'm sick and tired of seeing Lapadula. What has Lapadula done in the last 2 years? Please tell me. What has he done in the last 2 years? His last competitive goal was 2 years ago. You know what he's doing, Rank? He's living off the Copa America in 2021. That's it. He's got that 3 goals from that Copa America, and he said, cool, I'm Peruvian for life. I can start forever. I mean, there's got to be some dude from Sporting Cristal. I mean, get a dude from Cusco at this rate. Because Lapadula, he's not going to offer you anything. I think he's like 33, 34 years old. If you're going to play on the counterattack like Fossati wants to do, playing the most dinosaur football possible, then get a pacey striker. But Colombia, when you can bring off James Rodriguez, Yasser Asprilla, and Yon Duran off the bench, I mean, that's just quality right there. And there's nothing you can do. All right, and then match day 8 decided to turn into absolute carnage with results galore everywhere, with bizarre results and historic results. We had the Copa America final rematch. You obviously did the watch along for it, and obviously I watched the whole game. I thought it was just a great football match. I think that's
Yeah.
more that you can definitely say that these two teams are a top 5 international teams in the world. They just play such good football. There was intensity. You obviously had Debo hitting the camera at the end of the game for being frustrated. Don't be like that, Debo. You can give it to people, but you can't take it yourself. Don't act like that, bro. Obviously, you don't think it was a penalty for Colombia, no?
No, no. I think if it was like extremely soft. I feel like Otamendi barely touches Munoz inside the box.
I
He
think
definitely doesn't
Munoz,
follow that.
Munoz, he definitely sold it well. Obviously, Munoz was looking for a role in Hollywood, but I think Otamendi, you can't be making that challenge. I mean, he didn't get the ball,
Fair,
Rank. So
fair,
that's
fair.
I think that's what the VAR was saying, that you didn't get the ball, you got a little bit of Munoz, and obviously Munoz sold it well, and they got the penalty, and obviously James. I don't think you can really be disappointed if you're Argentinian. You're just like, you know what? They're a good team. They're at home. We'll beat them when they come to Buenos Aires. So I don't. Are you really disappointed?
No, no, I'm not disappointed. I feel like overall, in how the game played out, I feel like we didn't deserve to lose. I feel like a draw would have been fair in this game. We could have scored a few goals. I believe we had more chances than Colombia. Lautaro and
Yeah,
Julian
I
had
would say that.
many opportunities. We were pressing up very well in the first half. I feel like Colombia was having a lot of issues trying to play out from the back because of our press. And yeah, we created many opportunities to do that. Obviously, Colombia then in the counter attack when they were already out, they also created many opportunities. Divo Martinez in the final few minutes made another like save like against Colomani against John Duran. It was exactly the same save if you look at it.
Yeah.
So Colombia definitely could have scored a third as well. So I think that it was just a very close game between two of the best national teams in the world at the moment, and Colombia obviously being boosted by the determination to get revenge and the home atmosphere, Barranquilla being insanely hot, the travel distance so long for Argentina. So there were a lot of factors that played into this result, and I feel like overall the game was very intense. It was very close. And look, it was fine margins that gave Colombia the win, but I'm not really disappointed with our performance. I feel like we just met a very, very good team in a hostile atmosphere and we lost. It's not like I'm worried. It's our third loss in our last 64 games. Like, you cannot really be mad
Exactly.
about it. And in those 64 games, we won 4 trophies. So, like, uh, you cannot really be mad about taking another loss. You are going to lose eventually. You cannot win every game. And I think that, yeah, Colombia, they just have so much quality. And under Nestor Lorenzo, they've been fantastic. So, listen, it was a great game of football. We move on. And yeah, for Colombia, at least Colombians can be happy that they won this game. I think that we won the most important game. But
Of
listen,
course, of course.
they
A
can be
little bit of
happy about it.
shade, a little bit of shade there, a little bit of shade.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it. No, but overall, I think James, that left foot is just magical. The cross he put in for Mosquera was so pinpoint that Debo didn't even know what to do with it. He just saw just a bright light, and that bright light was the ball right on the cabeza for Mosquera. There, he could not miss it. And then the penalty was fantastic as well, sending Debo the wrong way. So overall, I don't think Colombia played the best, because I think Lucho was really quiet in the game, and you guys really nullified their attack. But, when you got guys like Richard Rios and obviously Munoz and Mojica and these sort of guys, like Colombia just have a squad. It's not even just about a good 11. They have a squad, and they have youngsters who are really good as well. So the future, the present is looking really good for Colombia, and I'm really excited to see what they can do in 2026. If they can keep this up and they can just keep building confidence, keep building the confidence, why can't they make it to a semifinal of the World Cup? I mean, they got everything. They got defense. Although I would say that defensively on counters, they did look a little bit shaky yesterday. Obviously, Mosquera hasn't played a lot of games with the national team. I think it was only his third or fourth appearance, so he didn't look the best, I thought, but he still got the goal. But overall, I think you're fair that saying that a draw was a fair result, but one team has James and the other team didn't. And that was the difference maker in yesterday's game. I was surprised, though, Dybala didn't get any minutes.
Yeah, Dybala came off the bench really late. Like, I don't know, like
Yeah,
85th minutes. It was insanely late.
It was weird.
I didn't know what's up with that. Lo Celso come off the bench earlier. Like, I really felt like it was a game for Dybala because we had an extra midfielder for the entire game. I felt like, especially during the first half, Enzo and Paredes didn't touch the ball. I felt like sub one of them out and get another attacker. But yeah, decisions by Scaloni. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fault him, but it is
Of
what it
course
is.
not. I mean, I think he's got enough baggage in his bag
Yeah,
right now to make a little bit of a mistakes right there. Okay, and then Ecuador. I mean, Enter Valencia, you finally scored a goal.
the
When was
goat
rank? When was the last time Enter Valencia scored in Quito?
must have been ages ago. Like, wait, I actually don't remember. I should have had that stat.
2017 was the last
Jesus
time
Christ.
Enter Valencia scored in Quito, and that
Uh,
he finally scored. Okay, overall, even though Ecuador I thought were a little bit disappointing against Brazil, I thought in this game they actually played really well. And that's with Kendir Pais, who I'm a little bit worried about right now. I wonder if sort of the confidence level with him, that, he had that sort of presence about him still at 16 and really playing well with Independiente, obviously with the U17s and the U20 World Cup. I was like, oh no, this kid is going to be magical. But I'm starting to see that maybe all the spotlight is getting to his head because his performances have dipped and dipped even more. But Ecuador, I thought they played really well. This game, it shows 1-0. It should have been 3-4-0. Gaese, again, fantastic saves. And Peru offered absolutely nothing. I mean, Fossati, if you're going to play terrorist football, if I'm Peruvian, I'm so sick and tired. Because you don't play Grimaldo, who has pace and athleticism. Rank, what's the one thing you would need if you're playing on the counterattack?
speed.
Okay, cool. Let's not have any speed up top then if you're Peru, because they could do nothing with the ball. And they had Lapadula up against Felix Torres, Hincapie, and Pacho. I mean, it was just abysmal tactically from Peru. They had the wrong idea into the game. It was just, everything was so bad. They should have lost 3-0. And Ecuador, I thought they looked a little bit better, but there's still a little bit of things like the attack. They got the midfield. Franco had really a good window this period. I thought,
Yeah.
Franco, I'm not his biggest fan. He's actually had a very good international window for September. I'm just intrigued to see what happens if Estupinian or Preciado get injured. Because if one of those two guys are injured, okay, then are you going to move to a back four? Because they provide the width for the team. So, good performance from Ecuador. They needed these 3 points. I think you said that in the preview for this window. They had to win this game. Because if they drop points to Peru at home, I mean, that's just sacrilegious right there. So, are you now a little bit more positive about Ecuador, or are you just like, nah, Peru are just garbage?
A bit of both. I want to give Becasese a bit more time. Obviously, he's just only getting started, but it really feels like if you told me that Felix Sanchez was still on the bench, I would have believed you. I felt like the outcome of the game wouldn't have been that much different if the manager was still Felix Sanchez. Ecuador did play well. I think that they really created a lot of opportunities and they were unlucky not to score more goals. Obviously, Galese, again, fantastic. And the defense for Peru was having to make every single thing imaginable just to keep this result 1-0 because the midfield was doing nothing for Peru. They were struggling so much to push past the half-point line. At every given moment, even when they went down to 1-0, and you would expect, okay, maybe now with the determination to actually get a result, Peru actually go forward. No, not even that. Like Peru went down 1-0, and after that, Ecuador just kept pushing, and Peru could do nothing about it. I was shocked that Grimaldo didn't play. I feel like he's one of the only few players that is in the Peruvian league who actually has some talent. And yeah, he's not getting any minutes under Fossati, which is crazy. Again, at least Peru didn't lose by a bigger margin, and you can be happy about that. But they need to start getting results if they want to have any chance of getting an intercontinental playoffs or the direct qualification slot. And for Fossati and Peru, it's not going well. They really have no players. They are so limited in every aspect. Which is why I'm not really that convinced with Ecuador, but I do think that it was a good performance. If one of Stupiñán or Preciado goes injured, I don't know what Ecuador does, if they actually have to change the formation as a whole. Different to Colombia, who actually has a squad, I feel like Ecuador has a really good starting 11, and then the depth of the squad isn't really that great. So we're going to have to see what happens with that, if Becasese is going to get tested more. They have other games now before the end of the year. We're going to see how it goes. I want to give Becasese some time. For now, it doesn't look much different, but this was a much needed result for Ecuador, and I think that...
So you basically say that Becasese is Felix Sanchez with a man bun.
Hey, okay, he has a lot more hair, so like that's a positive. Like, that's also like, do we blame Gonzalo Plata for Kendry now? Is that what we're doing?
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? New York strip clubs, they can't be wild. They can't be wild.
He
So, yeah, actually, you know what? That's actually a
he's gone off
great
the
point,
rails.
Rake. Ever since that club incident, he's fallen off. I'm gonna be honest. Are you a little bit worried with Kendry?
Maybe, and now he's going to Chelsea. Like it's not gonna get any better. Like it's
No, exactly. That's why I'm really worried. I don't think he's making the right decisions. I feel like he's gone a little bit too arrogant. But, he didn't play the worst yesterday, but it's just like he doesn't have that same confidence with him with his play. Remember last year with that combination play between him and Caicedo? I don't see
oh, it
that
was
now. I
insane.
just see him
Yeah.
I just see him take the ball and just shoot it. Take the ball, lose the ball. So, he's got to get his confidence back. But overall, I'm positive about Ecuador, but I need to see more. I'm not going to say, "Yep, they're back. They're going to make it to a round of 16 quarterfinal of the World Cup." No, not against Peru, because anybody can do that at this point, in my opinion, around the world. Maybe even Mongolia could get a result against Peru. That's how bad they are. I'm sorry to every Peruvian out there, but it's really not looking pretty. But the next game is where the history was made in this window of Conmebol. That's Bolivia. First time in 31 years. Rank, I wasn't even born. I wasn't even born the
No,
last time Bolivia
you
won
thought
an away
San
game.
Marino was crazy. You thought San Marino was crazy, bro. They waited 20 years to
This
win a game. This is a different level.
Yeah, this international window has been an ayahuasca trip altogether because Bolivia went to Santiago and beat them 2-1 after their goalkeeper Carlos Lempe. By the way, I remember I told you in the chat for your watch along. I said, "Oh no, we got 115 charges going on here because Eduardo Vargas, okay, did he do the right thing and just score? Yeah. Oh, he actually ruptured his Achilles. That's what happened to the Bolivian
Yeah,
goalkeeper. Ruptured his Achilles, missed the kick, and obviously Eduardo Vargas scored the goal. But the fact that Bolivia then said, okay, cool, we got screwed over. You know what we're going to do? Straight from kickoff, we're going to score a goal. I mean, honestly, that is just incredible. And then they just survived the second half. I mean, the second half, the football gods were Bolivia. They said it's your time to win an away game. And the last time Bolivia won an away game was 1993, which is pretty crazy because in that game, they won 7-1 against Venezuela.
yeah.
But yesterday, excuse me, they beat Chile 2-1. I think we got to first praise Bolivia before we roast Chile, Rank. I mean, this is historical. This is incredible.
It is incredible. I feel like this has been a 180 degrees for Bolivia. Bolivia being the only team to get 6 points in this window was not on my bingo card. It's crazy. Ever since I was born, I had known that Bolivia are just never going to win anything away from home. They're just going to try to win their home games and see if that's enough to qualify.
Yep.
It wasn't enough, never. But now they actually got a result away from home. And listen, it was a great win. I feel like those two goals that they scored, I feel like there's a lot to blame on Chile, but the combination play, it's something that we hadn't really seen from Bolivia before. They are actually using their speed and how physical they are. And the technique was actually pretty decent. I feel like we're seeing a bit of the results from Bolivar qualifying to the quarterfinals of the Copa Libertadores last year, and also like the always ready combination with the coach and with the players. I feel like some things about the Bolivian league are actually showing in the national team now. And it's great to see. I feel like they are finally more cohesive and not just rolling over and capitulating games against anyone that they play against. They're actually going and challenging teams who are on a very, very low level like Chile is. But you have to give praise to Bolivia for actually capitalizing on these mistakes. And yeah, they got an amazing win in the second half. They defended for their lives and they did so very, very well. I felt like Vizcarra, I don't know why Vizcarra wasn't the starting goalkeeper because I don't know what he had done wrong to lose that spot. Lampe is obviously a great goalkeeper too, but Vizcarra was also fantastic. The defense was solid. Chile had not really many dangerous opportunities in that second half. And listen, for Bolivia is historic. They are 1 point off Brazil. They are currently in the intercontinental playoff spot, and it's very possible that if they can just, I doubt that they're gonna get another away win. Like they've gotten the one. This is the one, I believe. But if they keep getting home wins,
To be fair, they can win in Peru.
okay. Yeah, it would be crazy. It would still be crazy if they do. You saw the players celebrating after the game. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like you know how
Nah.
much this means to them.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say this means everything to Bolivians. I mean, some Bolivians have never seen their team win away. That's been the reality for Bolivians, for a majority of them, I would say. And now their team finally won away in Santiago. And shout out again to Terceros, the 20-year-old for Santos, because he scored 2 goals in this window. I remember watching him in the Olympic tournament. I think he scored a ridiculous golazo. I think it was against Venezuela. I was like, oh no, this kid looks good. And I was like, oh, he plays for Santos. Interesting. But then I checked. He doesn't play a lot of games for Santos, but he scored 2 goals in this window. Algaranz also scored 2 goals this window. So I'm not going to get crazy and say Bolivia are going to qualify for the World Cup. But all I will say is the last time Bolivia qualified for the World Cup, it was hosted in the United States. And where's the next World Cup going to be played? The United States. So football works. Football works in mysterious ways, and maybe they could actually do a historical feat and qualify. I think it would be their third World Cup. I think it would be their third World Cup for Bolivia, and I can guarantee you nobody predicted them to make it to the World Cup. But heck, there's still a long way to go. I feel like have some sort of confidence booster for the rest of this campaign. It's just a matter of can they continue it. And then Chile, on the other hand, at least they scored a goal, Rank.
Hey, that's actually positive. Yeah, I think that I hadn't thought about that.
And the goal. I mean, okay, maybe it's not a goal, but I don't care. Eduardo Vargas is still garbage. And how do you think Brereton Diaz feels? The dude is studying Spanish on Duolingo and is getting subbed off the 35th minute for Pizarro. Why? What is Gareca? Gareca's making some really strange decisions. I don't know what he's been drinking. I don't know if it's mate, but it's rotten mate or what's going on, but he might be a fraud, Rank. This might be actually no. You know what? You know what this is? It's an inside job. He's gonna punish. He's gonna punish Peru and Chile at the same time. He's gonna bring them both down with him. For Chile to lose this game, I think it's sackable. I'm gonna be honest. He's got no results in competitive games. He's got a friendly win over Albania. He's got a win-loss against France, and then a win over Paraguay. So. If I'm Chilean, okay, look, do they have the quality? Of course not. There's no Arturo. There's no Gary Medel. There's no Alexis Sanchez. There's none of these guys. Bolsajor. I mean, Bolsajor was a quality left back. There's none of these dudes now. They are so depleted of quality. But I'm sorry. You can't lose to Bolivia at home. You cannot be that team. So what's one word to describe Chile right now?
Embarrassing. Disastrous. I don't know. Let me read out like a small list for you. Like,
okay,
Venezuela 1977, Peru 1989, Venezuela 1993, Chile 2024 are the 4 teams to lose at home to Bolivia in qualifiers. Chile have just joined a horrible list to be a part of. Like you said, it's a sackable offense to join that list. They should give back the coastline. I feel like giving back the coastline would be less embarrassing than this. I don't know what Gareca is doing, subbing out Brereton Diaz like that. I don't know what's going through his mind, because is Ben Brereton Diaz a world-class striker? No, he isn't. But like after what we saw in the qualifiers for 2022, the only reason why Peru arrived at the final day with a slim chance to qualify for Qatar was because Ben Brereton was actually getting the numbers and making Chile play to a different level offensively. The Estadio Nacional, I don't know if they had like reduced capacity like Argentina and Colombia did, but the place was almost empty. I don't know what was going on there. And yeah, Eduardo Vargas scoring that goal. Listen, I think he should have scored the goal. The manner in which he did, like just walking towards the goal and just shooting it when you're very close to it, I thought it was disrespectful to do it in that way. We move on.
A little bit.
He got punished for it. Because Chile conceded the same goal twice this game. Like Isla pushing up, Catalan moving to cover that space and pushing up as well, completely oblivious to what's going on.
And this is the cut, and it's a cutback as well. Both are cutbacks.
Both are cutbacks. And then Paulo Diaz, completely unaware of what's going on. They concede the same goal twice. It's shambolic defensively for Chile. They have no structure. And then offensively, it was just cross and galore. In the
Yep.
second half, like when I tuned into the game after the Argentina game finished, it was like, oh, here's a cross, oh, clear the way, oh, here's a cross, oh, clear the way. Like, it was insane. Chile got nothing. It's so sad to see. Obviously, like they don't have the quality, but it's Bolivia and it's at your home
Exactly.
stadium. That's the crazy part. And like you were saying, like if you're subbing out one of your best players at that point, like what are you doing? You're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Why would, like, what has Eduardo Vargas shown you in the last year to say, yeah, you know what? You deserve minutes and to get us the goals? What? Okay, yes, he's been fantastic for the Chilean national team. What he did in that 2015 Copa America in the semifinal, fantastic. This is the year 2024. Move on. Move on. Leonardo DiCaprio moves on to every girlfriend every 2 years, 3 years. So can you, Chile. Don't hang on to these guys anymore. You have to just start from the bottom. Like Drake, start from the bottom. Okay? Look at Brereton Diaz's face. The guy is saying, did I really learn Spanish for this? Really? I went to Duolingo for this? I don't think he was even terrible.
No, he wasn't. He was barely given any opportunities. No, it's crazy that Vargas is still on. He hasn't done anything for the last like 4 or 5 years for Chile. And at club level, it's not much better. Like he's in Brazil, he is barely getting any numbers for Mineiro. No, it's really not great. He's getting called up because of his record numbers with Chile. They need to move on. They need to actually believe in the youngsters like Pizarro, who came off the bench, Carlos Palacios, these sort of players, and Osorio. Try to get the youngsters involved. This is really not the way for Chile. Gareca has to change this stuff. Like, if he's going to keep his job after this, which I believe he will because it's like very early on, it needs to change. Like, Chile are still in time to turn the ship around, but they don't have that many easy fixtures left. The end schedule, the last 4 games for Chile are absolute hell, I remember. So, like, they need to get points ASAP if they want to have a chance of qualifying. And it would be embarrassing if Chile don't make 3 consecutive World Cups, especially this one being a 48-team World Cup. It would be insane. You cannot miss out on this one. Like, basically everyone qualifies. Like, is Bolivia going to take the spot away from you?
But Rick, they don't have that quality anymore. Like, you have to be realistic. And every Chilean has to be realistic. They don't have the quality anymore. They don't have guys playing at Juventus or Bayern.
To get 7, maybe?
Like, Paraguay have more quality than Chile.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, so like Chile, based on quality, are 8th best in South America. Venezuela have more quality. Ecuador have exponentially more quality. Chile just don't. Back in the day, 10 years ago, they had a top 3 team in South America based on quality, and they played like it as well. Now they don't have that. So either their young generation, and I actually checked, the last time they made it to the U20 World Cup was with that golden generation team back in 2007, and they lost to Argentina in the final. So that's the last time their youth teams have been good. So I think that's just evident in how their national team is right now. They don't have the quality, and Gareca is not helping himself. I'm sorry, this is an inside job. It has to be, because some of the decisions he's making and the tactics, I get his football is a bit chaotic, but the defending was shambolic yesterday. Those 2 goals were straight up sacrilegious. That's the best word to describe it. So yeah, Chile. I mean, Chileanos, I know you're feeling very depressed today, and I would be too. I would say, why am I watching this stupid sport? But you also have to just say, we're not that team anymore. But I did check their last 4 games, Rank. Yeah, they got Argentina at home, Bolivia away, Brazil away, Uruguay at home. They ain't picking no points. So they better start picking up some wins ASAP. Venezuela, they should have won this game. Again, Rank, I feel like Uruguay just got found out. They have no plan B. But the fact is, they created next to nothing in this game, I thought. They didn't create a great opportunity. It's just, I don't really get it from Bielsa. I get you're missing your players. You're missing Darwin. Fully understand it. But change something. Something at least. He didn't change anything, and I felt like Venezuela should have won this game. I mean, how Rondon, and I think it was, I can't remember who was in the second half. Was it maybe Segovia in the second half? He had a great opportunity 1-on-1 and was great save from Rochette. Venezuela should have won this game 2-0. They have made Maturin into a fortress. No, I don't think they've dropped points there yet so far in this campaign. Obviously a couple draws, but that's about it. So yeah, Venezuela, I think we did talk about that 4 points would have been an excellent window. 1 point, not disastrous, but they're clearly showing, and Batista is showing, that they are a good side. I think right now Venezuela are the fifth best team. I'm sorry, they are better than Brazil right now.
It's on the contract. Like when you hire a guy whose nickname is El Loco, like it's in the contract. You signed up.
So there's an expiration date.
No, not expiration date. This is what you signed up for. When the guy is nicknamed El Loco, he's the crazy one. He's gonna stick to his system. It's insanity. He's gonna stick to the system, doing the same thing over and over, even if it doesn't work. And in this game, it didn't work. Like you were saying, Uruguay created next to nothing in this game. And Venezuela should have won. Sergio Rochet and Venezuela's poor finishing kept this game 0-0 because Venezuela really created many opportunities. In that second half, there were like 8 clear goal-scoring opportunities for Venezuela. Like, I'm not even joking. It was either a save from Rochet on a one-on-one like 2 or 3 times, and then the other one's just Venezuelans missing the target from like 5 meters out. It was insane. Venezuela really could have picked up 3 massive points in this game. And it would have been amazing for them because now they're cutting it. Venezuela is cutting it really close now. We got really hyped up with their amazing start and seeing them like 4th or 5th in the qualifiers, and we're like, oh, they got this. They have to do it, because if they don't do it now, we don't know when it's happening for Venezuela. Now they are starting to drop points that they cannot afford to drop. I know that Uruguay is a very talented team, and it's a team that is hard to beat because defensively they are still very solid, and Rochet is a fantastic goalkeeper who's actually stepping up after what was Fernando Muslera departing. Venezuela needed to win this game with the amount of chances that they created, and it was just disappointing how they couldn't get it done. Offensively, they don't look like the same team that beat Chile 3-0 in that game anymore. Soteldinho is not cooking anymore. I feel like Rondon was missing a few clear chances, Bello as well. Segovia, like you were saying, Aramburu was making some really good progressive.
What a player, by the way. Aramburu, my God, que jugador.
Yeah. He was making some really good progressive runs, but it was not enough for Venezuela. If they could have just gotten 1 goal, it would have been fantastic. It would have been a very decent window. 1 point, it just feels like you're cutting it very close. You're tied on points with Brazil, which usually would be good, but not anymore. You're just. Venezuela need to get some wins on the board. If they can get like quality-wise and footballing-wise, they look great, and they look like a team that should qualify to the World Cup out of Conmebol. Yes. But if they don't actually start picking up some wins, it's gonna get scary towards the end. And I don't want to see Venezuela playing under pressure. I feel like they should get wins as fast as possible and just ensure that ticket to the World Cup, and just worry about it later. For now, I feel like they need a bit more. They need to improve that finishing again. I feel like it's the main talking point for Batista.
100%. I think the issue for Venezuela is their top goal scorer is Rondon with 2 goals. So somebody else has got to step up. I mean, Soteldinho, we love him. He stands on the ball in the Brazilian league. Step up, bro. I mean, he got WWE'd speared yesterday by Ugarte when he was doing that amazing run, and then Ugarte said, okay, cool. Welcome back to South American football, and absolutely just took him out. That was prime South American football. But I'm going to say this again, Rank. Why doesn't Luciano Rodriguez get any minutes? He's again on the bench for Uruguay. It's Saturday. The guy is a baller, but he's getting 0 minutes. I'm not going to be overreactionary and say, yeah, Uruguay and Bielsa, frauds. They've always been frauds. I'm not going to say that. I want to see it when Darwin gets back, when Araujo gets back, and obviously Valverde will suspended for this game. So we can't be reactionary with Uruguay, but Bielsa, he's not going to switch. Let's just get that out of the universe, people. Bielsa is not going to switch. He will die on this hill with his tactics, and either Uruguayans got to accept it or just say, hey, you know what? We'll ride with you, Bielsa. We'll go for the crazy ride that you provide. It's either going to end really good, or most of the time with Bielsa, it doesn't end pretty. So it's going to be actually fascinating to see how this story is going to end with Uruguay and Bielsa. And the last game then, Paraguay won a game. Rank, they finally won a game. They kept 2 clean sheets in this window. What did I say before this window? Gustavo Alvaro is a 10 out of 10 hiring. And he got 4 points against Uruguay and Brazil. That golazo from Diego Gomez was absolute insanity. Outside of the boot, off the posts and in. That's what you call a baller.
And
Rank
he's at
Diogo
Inter
Gomez.
Miami.
And well, to be fair, he is joining Brighton in January, so we got to
Okay.
take that into account. But he is playing at Inter Miami. MLS, stand up. Overall, Paraguay, great window. If they could just eliminate or deport somehow Almiron, they would actually have a quality team. It's just tactically, Paraguay nullified Brazil. Brazil had nothing. And this is a story again, Rank. And this, what did I say before this window? I think we both said it. Brazil have not changed. They're the same Brazil in the last year. They're average, and that's what we have to accept. They are an average football team. They might have the 5 stars, but they play like a 0.5 star team on FIFA with the quality they got. And now, Brazil have suffered 4 losses. In 2002 World Cup qualifiers, they had 6 losses. They got their 4th loss, match day 13. It's been 8 match days. They have more losses than wins. Brazil, I mean, disastrous. Again, Vini, disastrous. Endrick, I mean, he might need to go watch tapes of Sir Bobby Charlton because of the way he played. And Rodrigo, nullified. Midfield, terrible. Danilo, I just, God,
Oh
man,
my
like, it's so depressing talking about this national team because we all expect it to be, maybe they'll get it right. Just, you're hoping, praying, you're saying, this is going to be it. They're going to change it. Nope. Back to square one. Average, average, average. And Dorival Jr., this dude might actually be from Cuckoo Land. Because he said before the game, this team can make it to the World Cup final. And then lost to Paraguay. Nah, I can't take this national team serious, Rank. These guys have the big mouth. They talk all the game, but they don't perform. It's like Conor McGregor. You can talk all the shit to Khabib, but when you get to the octagon, who kicked ass? Khabib.
Another point as to why Brazil may actually be finished is that Lucas Moura is getting minutes in the year 2024 for the Brazilian national team. No, for real. Listen, back in the Copa America, when Costa Rica drew with Brazil 0-0, I said that Gustavo Alfaro may as well be the second coming of Jesus Christ. I think that might have been an understatement because he has pocketed Brazil with 2 different national teams in like 2 months or so. The guy is just a genius, incomprehended genius, because he knows the limitations of Paraguay and says, okay, well, we're going to set up like this in this low block and we're just going to try and hurt you with something. And Diego Gomez, what a goal that was. It was insane. And after that, like, it never seemed like Brazil would score. Okay, Paraguay suffered a few scares because defensively they were still a bit shaky. They were still allowing Brazil some space, and they were making a few clumsy mistakes. And Brazil may have gotten an accidental goal in this game because of the way that Paraguay was playing. I feel like Luis Enrique came off the bench and did way more than what Endrick was doing, and getting a lot more done in that right-hand side than Danilo or whoever was playing, because I doubt it was a Brazilian playing on that right-back position. It was crazy, like how finished Brazil are. Vini had one moment, like in the second half, where he received the ball on the left, caught inside, and fired a shot that was saved by Fernandez. That was the only moment where he was like, okay, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. That was it. That was all we saw from Vini, that one play. Like trying to dribble past 2 players and firing a shot from outside the box. It was it. There was nothing. Rodrigo, again, disappearing. No, Brazil, no cohesion whatsoever. Lucas Paqueta had a few good moments, but overall the midfield is just
you know what? No, Rick. I'm sorry. Lucas Paqueta is just a TikTok merchant with the Brazilian national team. He does all the nice dances with his wife. They're great dances. Shout out, wonderful couple. But the dude, what is his moment with the national team? Why does he consistently get to play so many minutes? Why? I can't, like, everybody just wants to blame Vinny and saying, look at you, you only got 5 goals with the national team. And of course, Vinny's career with Brazil has been subpar. But this midfield is nowhere near Brazilian standards.
No, they got. They got. It's bad when you're hearing ole, ole in Paraguay. Like that's when it's getting bad. For Brazil, it's crazy. Paraguay were actually running circles around them. And yeah, like you were saying, this Paraguay team actually has talent. They have some players that are actually interesting. And I feel like, yeah, Almiron should be dropped. Ramon Sosa has been waiting for this opportunity his whole career. And he's actually
100%.
shown a lot more for Paraguay in the last few years. So he should be the one starting on that side. Pita was a player that I had no idea about, and he's actually been like an effective nuisance for the Brazilian defense at midfield, just playing that disruptive role as a forward, which is crazy. Alfaro actually has set up Paraguay in a way that has made them very threatening for everyone to play against, again, which is what we were used to from Paraguay, that them being an extremely annoying team to play against because you know they're going to crap house their way around you. And Alfaro has done exactly that. And listen, Brazil had no answers because their midfield is just horrible, and offensively they do nothing. And this is the reason why, we keep talking about him, but Neymar, man, like, I don't think that Neymar is going to solve everything for Brazil.
He's not going to solve this team.
He's going to solve it. He's not going to solve it. But the way he was disrespected his entire Brazil career for not getting a major trophy, he was the only guy making something happen in this team. Neymar was born in the wrong generation for multiple reasons. First, for him, his personal career as a player, and then for his national team career, because this guy was the most talented thing we've seen come out from Brazil since Ronaldinho, and maybe even better than Ronaldinho. And he just had everything go wrong for him. And now this Brazil team is without him, and they look so incredibly clueless and toothless in attack. It's crazy. It's so sad to see how Brazil has fallen. And listen, for Paraguay, they're back in the race. 4 points in this window, and now you have some winnable games ahead of you. They're back in it.
Look at that. They jumped up to 7th place.
No. It's crazy. It's insane. Let's talk about the table. Bring it up.
Wait, Rank. No, just quickly back to Brazil. I'm sorry to all my Brazilians. I love your country, love the food, but your national team is a disgrace right now. How much heat should Dorival take? Was Fernando Diniz this bad?
Oof.
He wasn't losing to Paraguay away. He wasn't looking terrible at home to Ecuador. Okay, yeah, Fernando Diniz lost away to Uruguay. Neymar got injured. He obviously lost at home to Argentina, but we see what Argentina are. How bad was Fernando Diniz? They wasted all this time. They gave him all this abuse saying, oh, you're trying to play this style of football. You're trying to play the Brazilian way. It's not going to work out. We're going to go to Dorival. We'll play the boring European style. Nothing has changed. So maybe that's an indication that your quality is not there anymore. So how much heat should Dorival take for this disastrous time now going on?
The quality issue is really a problem. Is if Luis Enrique is being one of your difference makers off the bench and actually getting an impact, like they really have nothing. Brazil, especially in that midfield, is crazy how little. It's crazy that a team like Brazil cannot field 11 decent players. They cannot go out in the favelas and find 11 decent people to play fuchibol when like the guy serving caipirinhas on the beach can probably play better than Bruno Guimaraes. It's crazy. The quality is definitely a problem, but how delusional Dorival is and how committed he is to players like Joao Gomez is crazy. I think
or Danilo. How can Danilo keep starting for this national team? Preciado and Estupiñán would start for Brazil.
It's crazy.
Aramburu for Venezuela would start for Brazil.
Jesus Christ.
So, I mean, it's just, it's facts, Rick. I don't need to see a bunch of Juventus games and just see, oh, he's on the bench, but he gets to start for the Seleção. Make it make sense, people. Dorival, you got 2 games to save your ass. I'm telling you right now, if Brazil drop any points away to Chile or at home to Peru, his ass is gone. It has to be. Brazil cannot accept this mediocrity over and over again. Rank, if they lose to Chile away in the next game,
the worst part is going to be that they're not going to have Twitter to see their downfall. So like it's going to be crazy.
Damn. Paraguay and Bolivia both had A+ windows. Look at them. They're both on 9 points. It's crazy.
Bro, 4 and 6 points is insane.
Well, honestly, like if they win their games, Bolivia could leapfrog to 5th or 6th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, like some people are critical. Obviously, I don't think 6 teams directly should qualify to the World Cup from Conmebol. I think that's way too excessive. I think 5 teams directly would be good. The 6th place goes to Intercontinental. Bolivia and Paraguay, they should now feel some hope. Now they got something really to play for. Unlike Peru and Chile, who are just really, they're in the last nail in the coffin right now. They're just ready to hammer it in on these two teams not qualifying to the World Cup. And then it will just be between Venezuela, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Brazil. I'm sorry. Until Brazil can somehow improve, they will be in this dogfight. They're going to claw their way, just drag their way somehow through the mud and qualify. I don't think they're going to get a top 3 finish. I might not even say top 4. So, would you agree then Paraguay and Bolivia, absolutely massive windows for them?
Yeah, insanely huge for both of them. Like Bolivia, 6 points is crazy, but Paraguay as well, just because of the level of opposition that they had to face. Obviously, well, it's Brazil. It's this Brazil, but it's Brazil. Getting that huge win when they doubled their goals tally, so like that's already impressive enough.
2 goals in 8 games is wild, though. Holy shit!
It is wild. It is wild, but you should not be taken for given that they actually won a game. So. It's great for them to get this result, and now they should have more doable games to actually do this and push for that intercontinental playoff spot. Heck, even a direct qualification spot if Venezuela keeps slipping. And yeah, Bolivia as well. Now you have hope for your home games and try to park the bus on the road and just see how it goes, and you may have a chance. And then for Chile and Peru, listen, when they face, it's going to be an elimination game. Whoever doesn't win that game is out. So. It's
they play each other match day 11, so in November.
In November, it's gonna be in Lima, so that's an elimination game. If it's a draw, they are both out. So one of them needs to win.
Hey, look, Gareca will bring them both down at this point.
Listen, after that, Ecuador, I think that they are safe, even though they are only 1 point clear of the mess. I think they're gonna be fine as long as they get some results. And then, yeah, like Brazil are gonna do it. I cannot see a world where Brazil don't finish in the top 6, but. Yeah, as until they don't prove it, they're going to be in the dogfight, like you were saying, because they are just 1 win, 1 loss, draw, loss, draw. Like until they don't actually start getting some results and some real footballing anything that looks like football, they're going to be in this area around those other teams. So yeah, it's going to be intense for sure.
I would say this for Brazil: they must pick up 6 points in the next window. Because I looked at the Romania schedule. It is tough. Like, really, like, for this Brazilian team, it's tough. Maybe not for the 2006 and 2010 teams. Obviously, they didn't perform well at the World Cup, but they cruised by in the qualifiers. This team, they got to pick up those 6 points in October. If they don't, oh boy, I'm actually going to hit the panic button. But the most intriguing game for October, and obviously, I'll be previewing it. Maybe Rank will be joining me. Is Paraguay's next game is Ecuador away. Gustavo Alvaro returns to Quito, which should be very fascinating to see how that goes down. And Bolivia's next game is at home to Colombia in El Alto. So, look, it should be very intriguing in October to see how it goes down. And obviously, the top 3 are the top 3. They are going to cruise by. Although, if Uruguay drop more points, maybe they could be dragged into the. No. I'm not going to speak that into existence. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, Rake.
Okay.
I'm going to be polite. I'm going to be nice to our guy Bielsa. He's not going to get into that dogfight. People, there is the Conmebol review. It was absolutely. Yesterday was so fascinating to see Bolivia win, and obviously the Colombia-Argentina game was fantastic. Then I wake up in the morning, I see Brazil lose to Paraguay. What a window, Rank. Where can the people find you? What is your latest video? And maybe what's your next video coming up on your channel?
Well, people can find me at Rank Talks Ball, where I talk about football as well, just like Michael does. We speak pure and other facts in these videos. My latest video was about football's craziest tournament, a South American competition that you maybe have not heard about. There are 25,000 teams in it every single year. So yeah, it's absolute madness, and you may want to check it out. My next video, I'm going to be covering the Copa Libertadores as always, and I'm going to tell a story sometime in the future about how Messi, Maradona, and Scaloni took down a foray. So that is going to be interesting.
I mean, people, if you're not subscribed to Rank, then I don't know what you're doing, because you're going to see players, pissing in the corner. You have to go watch the video to find out what I'm talking about. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below of what happened in South America during this window. Obviously, we will be previewing and then reviewing for October and November as it's only heating up. Because if anything goes by this September window, October could even be crazier. Maybe Bolivia will get another 6 points. Maybe Brazil will pick up 0 points. You never know in football, and especially in South American football. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and we will catch you all on the next video. Adios, everybody.